Laker fans, welcome to another preview video. Today we're going to be talking about the Minnesota Timberwolves. Always an electric matchup when these two get together. The Timberwolves currently hold the season series lead at 2-1 after the Lakers won the first game on opening night. They have lost the last two. We're going to get into that a little bit later. First, we're going to talk about the game that everyone watched last night. 2.9 million tuned in to TNT to watch this one. Luka gets his revenge. Tons of storylines in this game. Luka playing his old team. Anthony Davis didn't play, but still excellent tribute from the Lakers, and it was cool seeing him back in the arena for all he did in the purple and gold. But so much going into this with Nico Harrison sitting there and the fans chanting, "Thank you, Nico Harrison." Mark Cuban sitting courtside and booing Luka Doncic as he came out. And Luka, there was a report earlier in the day of this game per ESPN about how there was a beast awoken in Luka Doncic. And that's what they were saying, was that this whole kind of smear campaign that the Mavs did after the game, or after they traded him, about how he's overweight and they're not going to pay a guy $345 million who doesn't play defense. And a lot of these sort of narratives that came out, hell, they were talking about him drinking beer and they didn't like that. They didn't like that he wasn't in the gym. I mean, they made a concerted effort, the Mavs, to try to trash him on his way out of town. I think it was partly because the world's reaction to the trade is, what the hell are you doing? Why would you just let this generational talent go? And they made a big effort to try to trash him. And Luka, you never know how real those reports are, because everyone's always like, oh, he's a beast is awoken, or all these things. Well, you could tell it was real. Whoever had that report, it was insider information, because Luka came out, got the tech, hit the three, looks back at the bench, has some choice words for them, and was playing with his hair on fire. 19, 15, and 12, a triple-double. If you had that in Vegas, it cashed you plus 330. So credit to all you people who hit that before the game. And looking at the game specifically, besides all the kind of storylines around that, is this was a big win for the Lakers in terms of, I know some people want to discredit it, going Anthony Davis wasn't there, and Gafford wasn't there, and Lively wasn't there, and that's all true. And if the Lakers see this team in the playoffs, they're probably going to have to deal with all of them, which is going to bring its own challenges in and of itself. But they only played this team 3 times on the season. And the first time the Lakers actually lost, Luka and Kyrie, when they were both with the Mavs, did not play in this game. And the Lakers looked really flat and actually lost it. It was one of the low points of the year. And so being able to only play this team one more time, you wanted to win that game too. You didn't want to lose the season series. If the Lakers had lost last night, that's what they would have lost the season series. And being 9.5-point favorites, I think my biggest takeaway from the game last night was when the Mavs cut it and they tied it at 91. My biggest question was, who's going to take over? Is it Luka going to be running the show? Is it LeBron? Is it what's going to happen? Is Austin Reeves going to be the guy? And it was great to see the team really kind of be cohesive. I mean, Luka and LeBron driving. Austin Reeves hit a couple big shots. Rui Hachimura had a couple easy bunnies cutting the baseline that really helped the team out and put a lot of pressure on the Mavs. They went down low, which was the Mavs' weakness in this game because of all the injuries they had. It was nice to see a team that the first couple games with Luka, people were wondering how's it going to work. But before when the trade happened, people were throwing this narrative around that LeBron couldn't play off ball. LeBron needs the ball, and Luka and him aren't going to work. And seeing the cohesion of one of the highest IQ basketball players we've ever seen, LeBron James, yeah, obviously he knows how to play off ball, and he's going to adjust to Luka Doncic. It's nice seeing the team kind of come together, and this trio of Luka, LeBron, and Austin Reeves. I mean, you're seriously talking about a big three right now, and that's going to be living hell for any team that gets them in the playoffs. And I thought it was a big win, even though the Mavs were shorthanded. But credit to Kyrie and Clay, they brought it, even though they're 9.5-point dogs. But nice to put that one in the past. But moving on to this one, Minnesota. This one's always fun. As I mentioned earlier, Timberwolves lead the season series 2-1. Lakers won opening night in a big matchup, and then the Lakers got bludgeoned in the game too. It was one of the real low points of the year. They lost 109-80. These teams the Lakers look completely different than all the players that played in this game. But the Lakers scored 80 points in this one. And then the third game of the year, the Lakers, I believe, didn't have LeBron or AD. Put up a pretty valiant effort, lost 97-87, but just didn't have enough firepower. Minnesota's an interesting team. This is, speaking about, before we get to Minnesota, Anthony Edwards and Luka Doncic, there's been a lot of talk about who's going to be the next face of the NBA. With Kevin Durant, LeBron, Steph Curry all getting older, who's going to take the torch. And I think you can make a real case for either one of these guys. Luka Doncic, obviously playing the purple and gold, took his team to the finals last year, is the second highest points per game scorer in the playoffs, just behind Michael Jordan. And Anthony Edwards is just an excellent throwback type of player. Excellent offensively, excellent defensively, plays both ways, got the $1 million smile, can talk the talk, and really, really backs it up. He's just a really clutch player. And Minnesota, in an effort to try to get more scores and more help around him, shipped Karl Anthony Towns to the Knicks and got back Dante DiVincenzo and Julius Randle in hopes of kind of providing. That's been the real problem for the Timberwolves the last few years. Is it's been Anthony Edwards and not a lot of other scorers. They've had top defenses. They've had excellent starting fives with defenses, but outside of Edwards, there wasn't a lot of scorers on the team, especially with a Rudy Gobert playing, who's not great offensively, really out there for defense. And it was kind of the kryptonite against Dallas and Kyrie and Luka last year. So they are going to be missing some big players in this game. Rudy Gobert is out. He's out with a back injury. He averages 11 points per game, but is mainly out there for defense. He's an excellent rim protector. Stole a couple defensive player of the years away from Anthony Davis when he was with the purple and gold. And then Julius Randle's out with a groin injury. He is the second leading scorer behind Anthony Edwards on this team. Averages a little over 18 points a game. That's a big loss for them. And then Jesse Edwards, the guy, he doesn't play a lot. He's a young player, but he's a center. He's also out. So that means a little bit more with Rudy Gobert out as well. They're lacking that depth there in the down low. Anthony Edwards is questionable due to right calf soreness. I fully expect him to play, especially considering the betting line in this game. And Dante DiVincenzo is questionable with a toe injury. They're hoping to get him back. He came over in that trade, and he's kind of been relied upon as the sharpshooter, 3-point specialist that Ant can kick out and dump to when he's driving and kicking and all that good stuff. The T-Wolves are getting hot right now. They are a team, kind of talked about when I was on Alan's show the other day. I do think that Oklahoma City, the Lakers, and the Nuggets are certainly the top three teams in the Western Conference. I think the Lakers are really elevating up there with Oklahoma City. I think if you had to pick a team outside of those three to think you could go on a run, Minnesota is that team. You have a superstar in Anthony Edwards. What they've done over the last 5 games, they have actually played Oklahoma City 3 times in the last 4 games. Oklahoma City, number 1 team in the Western Conference, been running through everyone. They've actually beat them twice in those three games. The last game was an absolute thriller. They were down 25 at one point, and they came all the way back and won in overtime. In that game, Nickeil Alexander-Walker comes off the bench. He had 21. Terrence Shannon Jr., young player out of Illinois, had 17 and 10. And Rob Dillingham, the top draft pick from this year out of Kentucky, had 12 points as well. I think this is why we're starting to look at this Timberwolves team a little bit differently. Some of these young players, and Shannon and Dillingham and Alexander Walker, are really taking a step up and kind of giving them a bench, whereas they didn't have that in the last few years. To round out the starting lineup, you have Anthony Edwards, Mike Conley, veteran point guard that kind of runs everything, obviously former of the Grizzlies. Naz Reid is the player that I know personally as a Laker fan, I want the Lakers to sign him next year. He is an excellent player, really a hybrid center. He can get down there and rebound, but he's a really good shooter, can shoot the 3 ball really well. He's had some big games against the Lakers, actually. So Naz Reid is a guy to watch out for, and they're going to be really relying on him with Gobert out in this game. Jaden McDaniels, player out of Washington, still only like 24 years old. He's an excellent defender. So him and Anthony Edwards make a really nice 1-2 on defense of teams' other best scorers. And then Jalen Clark is slid into starting the lineup. He's a 23-year-old out of UCLA and has been having some nice games recently. So it's going to be interesting to see how Minnesota guards the Lakers. Anthony Edwards, you got to think is going to be on Luka. And then I'm assuming McDaniels is going to be on LeBron. And then that means that I think you're looking at a big game from Austin Reeves. You might have Mike Conley guarding him. And I think that's what's making the Lakers so dangerous right now is the third option is Austin Reeves. And Austin Reeves has been playing out of his mind. And when Austin Reeves is going up against your third best defensive defender, that's good news for the Lakers. But this team has really, in the Timberwolves, taken off recently. They're playing with a lot of confidence coming off of that OT victory. I expect Luka Garza, a younger player out of Iowa, to get some minutes because Gobert will be out for this game. And Joe Ingles is another guy they'll bring in for a three-point specialist. He's been in the league a long time. He'll definitely be getting a lot of minutes if DiVincenzo's out. But if DiVincenzo's there, he kind of becomes a little less relevant. But excited for this one. The betting line is opened at 4.5 in terms of the Lakers being the favorites. That line has been bet up to 5.5, and the point total is set at 223.5 and has stayed the same. A big game because if the Lakers win, they can at least tie the season series with Minnesota. So you're not really worried about tiebreaker issues there. Whereas if Minnesota wins this game, they are only a few games back. If the Lakers had an injury, if they went on a little bit of a losing streak, you don't want the Timberwolves to have a tiebreaker over here. That's what we've really been hammering home over the last week. Want to beat the Mavs. The Clipper games coming up this weekend are massive because the Lakers and Clippers are 1-1 on the season. They're going to play Friday and Sunday. Whoever wins both, if a team can win both those games, they win the season series. If they split, it'll obviously be a split on the season series. But again, worried about tiebreakers is a big deal coming down the stretch here post All-Star break. So thank you guys for tuning in. Appreciate it. As always, Alan's going to get you guys on his show in the morning doing his thing. And then hopefully we're talking about a Laker W post game over the Minnesota Timberwolves. And appreciate everyone for tuning in, and go Lakers.